Good morning, everybody. It's Paula from the 411 on manifesting. I hope you all had an amazing weekend. Welcome back to my channel. I have to tell you quickly about my weekend. Well, about my Saturday, anyway. I went to Edmonton with a very good friend of mine. We did like a girls' road trip day. We went shopping. We went to Edmonton. I swear, we covered each end of the city in a very short time. Didn't get lost once. It was great. And then we went to a private event at the Mutart Conservatory, which I've never ever been to before. Oh my goodness. If you have never been to the conservatory in Edmonton, you gotta go. It was absolutely amazing. It is four big pyramids, kind of glass paneled pyramids, which you can sort of see when you're driving around Edmonton and the downtown area. But each one is filled with plants. So there's a tropical pyramid, there's a desert pyramid, there is a Mars pyramid where they have like a huge planet that I can't even describe it. I am still on a high from that event. It was absolutely amazing. Mystic Manna put it on. If you have not been to a Mystic Manna event, get on Eventbrite, check her out, follow her page on Facebook, Instagram. I'm telling you, there was healers and vendors and craft stations. There was a crystal egg Easter egg hunt. Like, she just thinks of everything. It was so much fun. I just had such a good time. So that was my weekend anyway. But I want to come on today and talk about something a little bit different from what I normally talk about. And that is falling down. I'm not talking like falling down the stairs. I'm talking falling down when there's something that you're trying to change in your life and you're not successful at it. So in particular, I am quitting smoking. And I'd like to publicly apologize to anyone that got in my path this last week while I was going through nicotine withdrawal. You didn't know, you didn't see it coming, and you were probably really scared. But, I feel a lot of us, when we try to quit an addiction like that, we kind of get our personalities taken over in the process for a few days. So anyway, sorry. But so I actually quit this has been going on for a couple of weeks now, but I quit for about 3 days, and then I had a couple smokes and I didn't like it. It was kind of like, this is a reminder, of why you're quitting. And so I did it again, and then I lasted 6 days. And I really thought that I had it down because I was having a real physical reaction from cigarette smoking, and honestly, not a pleasant one. So I just kind of kept reminding myself why I was quitting. What was that reason why I was quitting? I was quitting because it does not make me feel good, and I just don't want to smoke anymore. But I quit smoking because there was this physical reaction, and I didn't make a plan to do it. I didn't set myself, up for any steps to help me through it. If I was feeling weak or anything like that and, wanted to give in, I didn't do any of that. I just went, I don't feel good and I'm quitting. And I expected it to be that easy because I have quit before and it's been that easy before. So that's what I expected it to be like this time. And it was not like that. So Saturday, I caved and I bought some cigarettes and I smoked, and I was pretty disappointed in myself. And I had told a few people that I had quit, and then I was like really scared to be around them if I had a cigarette and if they could smell it, and there was like all this guilt and all this shame and associated with it, and that I failed and la la la, all that crap that goes along with it. And that just, honestly, that really pissed me off, that I know better when I have a goal to do something that I have to make a plan. I have to have steps to get to my goal, because if not, I'm not setting myself up properly. You know what I mean? So I didn't do that this time. Like I said, I just thought, nope, I'm going to quit. I'm just good. I'm done. I don't need them anymore. It's going to be easy. It's going to be fine. Actually, I didn't even think that. I didn't sort of think ahead of what I was going to go through. And I think for me, like just walking down the street and I see somebody with a cigarette, that makes me want to smoke. It might not be like that in a year, but right now that really makes me want to smoke. Or, if I have maybe something stressful come at me, that's the first thing my brain thinks of is I want to have a smoke. So I did not do any action steps in my plan to get to my goal, to be successful at my goal. And that's really something we have to do, not just with quitting smoking, but with, maybe eating healthier, saving money, exercising, any type of big lifestyle change, leaving a relationship, any big lifestyle change like that, like a goal like that, you have to have action steps that go with it. So I'll give you, for instance, with stopping smoking. So I should have wrote down, okay, here's my goal. My goal is stop smoking. And then underneath that, I'm going to put some steps that are going to help me get to my goal. Drink more water. Every time I have, a craving for a cigarette, I need to drink a big glass of water. If it gets really, really bad, I need maybe to phone a friend. I need to journal. So, and also too, a really kind of big one I was reading about recently is when you are hit with a craving is to have a book with you, like a journal with you, and write down in that moment what you're thinking about that led to that craving. And what that does is it sort of helps you recognize the behaviors that are coming along with that. And honestly, I also do that with food now. When I really want to, eat a bunch of bad food that I shouldn't be eating, I think to myself in the moment, what just made me think of doing that? So sometimes there is a memory associated with that. Sometimes it's out of boredom and it just sort of needs to be, brought up and brought to the table and be like, why am I eating this right now? What's going on in my head? And when I started to write down those times and then look them over, there was a definite pattern there of what I was doing. So it's really helped me recognize why I'm, eating these bad foods, like what I'm thinking of, what's triggering me to kind of run to that. So, and it's the same thing with smoking. So I did that. I started to write it down and, I think like the other day I wrote down like 6 or 7 things, but in the moment it takes that split second for me to either do this or for me to either write it down. And in writing it down, even if it takes, away 2 minutes from me doing this, that's okay. Like that is okay. But the other thing that I really want to bring up, because I really don't like that I do this with myself, is that I have all this guilt and shame that goes along with falling down. And I really need to remember the fact that I even tried to do something to make my life a little bit better needs to be acknowledged and needs to be recognized. And that falling down is part of that process. And I mean, I've fallen down a lot of times in my life and I've always managed to get myself up again and come up better than ever. So the only thing, don't just make sure you don't fall down too much. Sometimes we don't get back up. So I really, really want to come on and talk about that. And I could really use your support. So if any of you have quit anything and fallen down, I would really love to hear about it in the comments. It's just, I feel like we can be a little support group here too. It's kind of, if you see me with a cigarette, don't judge me. Just kidding. You can say, hey, what are you doing? Why didn't you write down while you're smoking? But I really am trying. It's really something that I want to eliminate from my life. It really doesn't align with my lifestyle anymore and the things that I want to be doing. So I know that it's on its way out. And I like that. It's on its way out. So I know that. That's good. But like I said, if you have any tips or tricks for me, let me know. So far I have, the journaling, the drinking water. My very good friend brought me really healthy snacks to work last week, which I have there. So if I get like a craving or anything, but if you have any tips and tricks for me, leave them in the comments. I hope you all have an absolutely amazing Monday today. Mondays are really great because they're just like the start of the new week. So anything that you maybe wanted to change from the week before or do differently, you just get that opportunity. Well, I mean, you have the opportunity to do that any day, but Monday is always just a great starting point. So have an amazing Monday, everybody. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you haven't already. And if nobody tells you this week, I love you. Have an amazing day. We'll talk to you soon. Bye.